It's the early hours of March 8, 2014. Malaysia Airlines Flight 370, a red-eye route carrying 239 passengers and crew, lifts off from Kuala Lumpur, beginning a routine scheduled flight to Beijing. The aircraft is a Boeing 777, a model widely recognized for having one of the strongest safety records in modern aviation. The sky is clear, and the initial climb proceeds exactly by the book. At 1:19 a.m., as the plane approaches Vietnamese airspace, the cockpit radios air traffic control with a standard sign-off. "Good night, Malaysian 370. Everything appears perfectly normal. But less than 2 minutes later, the plane's transponder, the device that automatically broadcasts its location and altitude to civilian radar, stops transmitting. The radar screen simply goes blank. With that abrupt severing of communications, a standard commercial journey becomes an aviation puzzle that continues to baffle investigators to this day. Modern passenger jets are highly computerized machines packed with overlapping communication and tracking networks. They are specifically engineered so that a single glitch cannot drop them off the grid. Losing all of these independent monitoring systems at virtually the same moment indicates that whatever event struck MH370 occurred with staggering speed. This raises a haunting question. Did the plane suffer a rapid, cascading mechanical collapse, or did someone intentionally cut the cord? When civilian tracking lost MH370 over the South China Sea, authorities initially assumed it had crashed right there, but the data told a different story. This map shows the planned route to Beijing. But when investigators reviewed primary military radar, which bounces radio waves off physical objects rather than relying on the plane's transponder, they saw the aircraft execute a sharp, unscheduled U-turn, heading back west over the Malaysian peninsula. Even with its main communication arrays disabled, a terminal on the plane continued to send automated hourly handshakes, or pings, to an Inmarsat satellite. Those pings proved the aircraft turned south and continued flying for almost 7 hours. The tracking data confirmed that MH370 had become a ghost flight, cruising silently over open water until its tanks finally ran dry. Seeking to explain this erratic behavior, the official investigation initially explored the possibility of a catastrophic onboard emergency that knocked out the avionics. One hypothesis centers on a cargo fire. The plane's manifest included thousands of pounds of lithium-ion batteries, highly volatile materials known to occasionally ignite with intense heat. Another leading idea is a hypoxia event. If a structural failure or toxic smoke caused a rapid loss of cabin pressure, the crew and passengers would have been starved of oxygen, rendering them unconscious in a matter of minutes. With the pilots incapacitated, the aircraft would be left entirely to its autopilot systems, maintaining altitude and speed for hours until the fuel was completely exhausted. A sudden decompression or flash fire perfectly aligns with the abrupt loss of radio contact. However, it struggles to account for the highly specific, seemingly navigated U-turn picked up by the military radar shortly after the blackout. Because the mechanical failure theory contains logical gaps, investigators have heavily scrutinized a darker alternative, a calculated act of sabotage. Forensic analysis of the timeline shows that the plane's automated data transmission system and its transponder did not fail at the exact same time. They went dark sequentially, several minutes apart, which strongly points to a manual shutdown rather than an instantaneous electrical short. When the FBI and Malaysian police searched the home of the aircraft's captain, Zahari Ahmad Shah, they recovered deleted data drives from his personal flight simulator. This map shows the lower Indian Ocean. Less than a month before MH370 vanished, the captain used his simulator to practice a flight path ending in this exact remote stretch of water, closely matching the bizarre trajectory the real plane ultimately took. Yet, even with this deeply unsettling circumstantial evidence, investigators lack the physical wreckage required to definitively prove sabotage. Neither theory fully squares every piece of the puzzle, leaving the investigation at a frustrating standstill. Finding that physical proof sparked the most expensive search and rescue operation in aviation history, scouring over 120,000 square kilometers of deep, turbulent ocean. Across years of sweeping the seafloor, search teams never located the main fuselage. Only a few scattered pieces of marine debris, like a wing flaperon, have ever washed ashore. Without recovering the flight data recorders from the main wreckage, the definitive answers required to close this case remain permanently out of reach. The inability to explain why a massive commercial airliner disappeared forced the aviation industry to rethink its global tracking infrastructure from the ground up. The incident spurred international regulators to mandate continuous, open-ocean position reporting for all passenger jets. They also extended the required recording capacity of cockpit voice recorders and increased the battery life for underwater locator beacons. Modern skies are significantly safer because of the safety upgrades driven by this disaster. Yet for the families of the 239 passengers and crew, the agonizing question of exactly why their loved ones vanished remains buried somewhere at the bottom of the sea.